Hey, and welcome to Fun Swedish. If you come to Sweden, you will sooner or later need to eat. And some days you just don't feel like eating at home. You might consider going out eating instead. Then it can be really handy to know some tips and words about eating out in Sweden. Eating out is quite expensive in Sweden, especially if you have a glass of wine. On average, it will cost you more than 300 crowns. But there are some more affordable options, like only going out for lunch instead and skipping the wine. We call it Dagens lunch, the lunch of the day. The prices are normally around 80 to 130 crowns, depending a bit where you go. In smaller towns and in some suburbs of Stockholm, the prices are cheaper. The good thing with Dagens lunch is that you will get a lot of things included in the price, such as dryck, sallad, bröd och kaffe. And we will talk a little bit more about these things now. And dryck, our word for beverage, is something that is very often included in the Dagens lunch. Some of the most common options are, for example, läsk, which is the Swedish word for soda, such as Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Fanta, Sprite, 7-Up, and many others. But you can also find more Swedish options here, such as lingondricka, which is basically lingonberry juice that we drink a lot here for Dagens lunch. And in some places they might serve lättöl, which is basically a beer with lower percentage of alcohol. Normally a lättöl can't have more than 2.25% of alcohol. So the lätt in lättöl is referring to the alcohol percentage. Another option is vatten, and here they might offer you two options. Tap water, which is what we call vanligt vatten, or sparkling water, mineralvatten. So you know that in Sweden, mineralvatten is the one with the bubbles. Next beverage, mjölk, milk. Yes, some Swedish people like to drink milk with their lunch, especially Swedish construction workers or some Swedes from the older generation. For example, my dad. He can absolutely, without any problem, order a glass of milk to his burger when he goes to McDonald's. Super Swedish. So you might also see milk, mjölk, as one of the options to drink during your Dagens lunch. What else is included in this Dagens lunch? Well, we also have salad. And normally you get a little plate that you can use when you go to the salad buffet, and there you can pick up all the salad you want. And next to the salad buffet, you might find the bread and the butter, bröd och smör, which is also included in the price. And you might be able to pick from two types of bread, either just normal bread, it can be white bread or more browner bread, but you can also pick this bread that is very, very Swedish called knäckebröd. It looks like this. And then after eating, coffee or tea is also included in the price. And in the best Dagens lunch places, you normally also get some cookies, kakor, and påtår, which is the Swedish word for coffee refill. This is very, very important for some Swedes. Swedes like my dad and many older Swedes think that påtår is a right. So they avoid going to places such as Starbucks, and instead they choose more traditional Swedish places for lunch or for fika, because they still do this påtår tradition, the free coffee refill. So that was it about our Dagens lunch concept here in Sweden. And before we move on and talk about how to order in Swedish, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done it yet. Now back to ordering. The only thing you need to do is to know what dish you want to eat. And if you want to know more about Swedish dishes, you can check out this YouTube video we made about it. There are many ways to order in Swedish, but we will teach you the easiest way in this video. One of the most common sentences that you will need to know if you go to a restaurant with Dagens lunch is this one. Jag tar en tack, which is basically how we say I will have a, and then you fill in the dish you want, and then you end it with tack, which is how we say please in Swedish. For example, jag tar en laxtack, which kind of means I will have the salmon dish, please. Jag tar en laxtack. And again, we use this tack as our please when we want to sound polite while we're ordering. Don't use snälla, use tack instead. Then they normally ask you back, vad vill du ha att dricka? Or vad vill du dricka? Yes, you can go really fast, but this basically means what kind of beverage or thing to drink do you want for your meal? To this, you can answer different things. If you just want water, normal tap water, then you just say bara vanligt vatten tack. Just normal water please. And if you want läsk, soda or mineralvatten, sparkling water, they might ask you vilken smak. Vilken smak is how we say what flavor. For example, if you want lemon flavor to your sparkling water, then you can say med citronsmak, with lemon flavor. And if you don't want any flavor to your sparkling water, then you just say ingen smak tack. During Dagens lunch, you normally pay right away. So after they know what dish and what beverage you want, they normally say det blir and then the price. Det blir is how we say it costs. For example, det blir 80 kronor tack. It is or it will be 80 crowns please. In Sweden nowadays, it's very rare to pay with cash, so they might not even ask you if you want to pay with cash or with a card. But if they do, it will sound something like this. Betalar du med kort eller kontant? Kort is card and kontant is cash. And if you go to a Dagens lunch together with someone, they might ask you this question. Betalar ni tillsammans eller separat? Do you pay together or separately? This question can always be a bit awkward. But I think that most Swedes would answer betala separat, pay separately. I guess in Sweden we are very independent, so we prefer to pay our own dish. And after paying, they might ask you, vill du ha kvittot? Do you want a receipt? And to this you just answer ja tack if you want it or nej tack if you don't want it. And then they might give you some instructions. For example, they might say sallad, bröd och kaffe finns där borta, which basically means salad, bread and coffee is over there. And they can also add vi kommer ut med din mat. It literally means we come out with your food, but it basically means we're going to bring the food to your table. So you just need to go there and sit and wait for it. At least if you go to a nicer Dagens lunch place. And then when they bring you the food, they might tell you this phrase. Varsågod, smaklig måltid. Varsågod can mean many different things depending on the context. Here, in this situation, it would mean here you have your food. And smaklig måltid is how we say enjoy your meal, or the famous bon appetit, but in Swedish, smaklig måltid. And when you finish the food, and if you like the food, then you can say this phrase before you go. Tack så mycket för maten, det var jättegott. Thank you so much for the food, it was really tasty. And if you need to go to the toilet, but you don't know where it is, then you can ask this phrase. Ursäkta, var är toaletten någonstans? This is how we say, excuse me, where's the toilet? But we add this little word, någonstans. It's written någonstans, but we pronounce it någonstans. And it really means somewhere. This is very Swedish, and we add it to sound more polite. We basically say, excuse me, where's the toilet somewhere? I know this sounds super weird in English, but for us it doesn't. It actually sounds very polite. It's kind of like we're saying, excuse me, you don't happen to know if there's any toilet somewhere here around? Something like that. You could technically also say, ursäkta, var är toaletten? But here you need to sound very soft and almost smiling, because if you just say, var är toaletten? It can sound almost a bit aggressive, or that you really want to go to the toilet so much that you don't care about manners any longer. So that's why it's good to learn the whole sentence. Ursäkta, var är toaletten någonstans? That sounds super polite, and they will absolutely tell you where the toilet is. So that was it for today. I hope you enjoyed this Dagens lunch video and all the tips and tricks we gave you. And if you want to learn more Swedish with us, then you can sign up to any of our video courses. We have from beginners to upper intermediate. And you can find more information in the link below. And before you go, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done it yet, and put a like. Toppen! Hej då, nu ska jag gå och äta dagens lunch. Vi ses!